Hello Cherries fans and welcome to the second look this Tuesday evening here on Back of the Net. My name's Sam Davis.
My name's Tom Jordan.
Tom, we've all got smiles on our faces. What a turnaround from last week where we were crying into our pints of cores or our lattes. It wasn't a good weekend that weekend, but this weekend we're feeling a hell of a lot better, aren't we? Eh?
Yeah, everyone I speak to is still buzzing, to be fair. I don't know how many times I've watched the goals back and, different angles of goals and celebrations. It's really good. After the hammering we took, we've had 2 games since, and it's been really positive since then, mate. So yeah, no better way to bounce back, and O'Neill and the players deserve massive credit.
Gary O'Neill's Barmy Army. We're all Gary O'Neill, aren't we? Look, we're at the pair at Parley. You may have seen from our woodland dining hut environment that we're in. The weather's a little bit up and down today, a little bit of sun, a little bit of rain. So we came in, thanks to Sam at the pair for putting us up today. Really appreciate that. Sometimes I think he puts up with us, mate. But the pair at Parley, it's in West Parley, and it's a great place to go if you want a drink or some food. Look, it's on Christchurch Road, it's got massive gardens, and it's a beautiful place to go. Have a Sunday lunch here, have some food here, pop by for a drink. Absolutely gorgeous place to be. The links and the descriptions are at the bottom of the screen. So, mate, it's fair to say at the start of the season, when the fixtures were released, we were doing our show and we created a little tier list which listed all the teams that we're playing and then the amount of points that we could expect to get from those games. It was 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 or 6.
Yeah.
I think Forest, we might have said 4.
Okay.
We've started well.
Yeah, I think we probably would have said maybe nick a point there away and win the home game. So yeah, that's a good start for us. I think we can look back on that start of the season now and look at the points total, as I'm sure everyone said, and it looks pretty good considering our fixtures. But I think it's more the case, as you mentioned at the start, the reaction to what was not only a 9-0 defeat, but then losing your manager and then suddenly having 2 games in quite quick succession and the 2 performances and results really. So yeah, I think it's the reaction, and it's shown. There's always question marks when a manager leaves. Go, oh yeah, but was it the players? And then you see the reaction of the players. You think, oh no, they're still together, and that's really, really positive for us.
Yeah, it was. And look, with Forest, they're a big club. We know they're a big club, but I must admit, if you're a user of Twitter, you probably see AFCB getting tagged in a lot of tweets from Forest fans, and they come across even bigger than the big size that they are already. So it's easy to get nervous. And as fans, I think before we played them back earlier last year, we felt a bit nervous. It was a big game. But this one as well was a big game for different reasons. But look, the start of their season, despite all the players that they've brought in, it's been all right, and there have been some performances that they've put in. The 2-0 home loss against Spurs, for instance, where I actually thought, considering they lost 2-0, they actually put in a good performance, and there have been some games from them where they've played really well. Obviously, they need time to gel, but for them, they must have been targeting Bournemouth as, we need to get something here.
Yeah, I would have thought so. I think because that was their only win, West Ham, wasn't it, which was a big win for them. But I think a lot of people have said, and I'd agree, it was probably a good time to play them, in the sense that I would think, and Forest fans would like to think, they're only going to get better when they start gelling and start working out their best 11 and things like that. So it was important for us to show them that we're a team. They might have some real good individual players, but we're a team and we can get something here, because we're getting them at a time before they've adapted. So that was helpful for us. But yeah, they've been relatively inconsistent in their performances as a result, which probably makes sense with the amount of changes they've made. I think at the moment they've got to be expecting for it to be quite a slow process, and they got to back Cooper in the sense that it's a lot of players. It's going to be very difficult. It's so easy for him with that squad to just make 4 changes every game and change the system all the time. It's going to be very hard to work out his main 11. But at the moment, I just looked at them and thought they've got away from what got them promoted. They kind of had that one player in behind 2 strikers. And I remember last season, Keenan Davis was quite big for them. They had that focal point. And they've got Awani, if that's how you pronounce it, on the bench who come on. But they're not starting with him, so they haven't got a focal point. They haven't really got a striker. And it's almost like they're just trying to fit everyone in. Yeah. So I think once they've worked that out, they should be all right. But we caught them at a good time, and weirdly, I think I heard a Forest fan say, it might have been on TalkSport, which I thought was a really good point. He said if we were 2-0 up at half-time to a Liverpool or to a Man U, they'd have closed that game out.
Yeah.
But because it was Bournemouth, they almost come out second half, thought, go for the motions, get a third.
Yeah,
Bournemouth ain't doing much, and we caught them off guard a little bit. So, I think that was important. But, yeah, I thought we were harsh done by half-time, to be fair, mate, but we'll come on to that.
Yeah, well, the teams were announced at 2 o'clock and it was unchanged, something which I think you said, didn't you?
Yeah.
In fact, you got Forest spot on apart from one player, didn't you?
10 out of 11.
You nearly got all 22 correct, mate. But look, yeah, we started with the same side, but one of the noticeable elements was the fact that we had Siriki Dembele named on the bench.
Yeah.
So I don't quite know what that is. Is that to make up the numbers? Is he still wanting to go or not? And I thought, wow, I mean, that's a useful player that we could bring on if we needed to.
Yeah.
At one point, I thought we maybe should have brought him on, but we'll come to that. But interesting sign, that.
Yeah, it is interesting. I was thinking about it, and you always look at it and go that when you first name your squad, you've got until January till you can name a new squad, register players, etc. And I thought, with the World Cup, it's not actually that much time till January in terms of fixtures. So I thought my theory, without having any evidence behind this, is, well, if Stanislas is out for a little bit, maybe they think, well, he ain't going to be ready till the World Cup anyway, so we'll just re-register him. Or are they thinking, well, Brooks ain't going to be ready to actually play until after the World Cup? I don't know. Or are they thinking, well, there's no point in putting Will Dennis in the squad because we can, you know what I mean?
Interesting.
I don't know, but really, real positive actually to see him on the bench. It might be a case of, as you say, he wanted to play more minutes and didn't think he was going to get it under Parker. And maybe O'Neill said to him, look, you got a chance now, fresh slate, you got a different manager now, whether that be me or someone else, you might as well see what you can do. And maybe Dembele will think, you know what, I'll graft, see what I can do, and then if it gets to January and whoever the manager is, I'm not getting played, then I'll look for another move. But that was interesting, and sort of Stevens obviously on the bench as well, wasn't he? And Pearson was obviously out injured, and I think Hill come out the squad, didn't he? So
of course it's listed as a 4-2-3-1, but it almost felt like a 4-4-2 at times. With Billing, he was noticeably playing more advanced throughout that, wasn't he?
Yeah, which was good to see. I think how many times we mentioned in shows that you want, if Solanke's up there, you need Billing to be close to him. He gets too isolated.
Exactly.
And I think when you've got Lewis, Cook and Lerma, Billing can be allowed to do that because they are quite solid. They're quite intelligent footballers. They're not going to leave too many gaps. So it virtually was, like I say, I think if you were really if you were really looking at the system, what exactly was it? Probably a 4-4-1-1 one day. He was just off him, but yeah, it was evident that he was getting closer to Dom.
What was your prediction before the game, mate? When we were in there, when we were in the Canal House pub, what was it?
I think, did I go for a score draw?
I think you might have.
And then I probably had a few and went for us to win, so whatever.
You didn't go for 11-0 though, did you?
No, I didn't. No one would go for 11-0.
No, well, no one apart from Steve Cook's young sons. So they were on the PA and they were asked for a score prediction. Obviously, they'd noticed our result last week and they said 11-0 to Nottingham Forest against AFC Bournemouth. I'm wondering where his kids' allegiances lie at the moment. Hopefully, it's red and black rather than red and white shorts or whatever. But interesting. And look, let's talk about the first half and. Reading message boards, reading Twitter and stuff. At half time, there was a lot of despondency, but really, I don't think the performance was that bad. It was certainly a lot better. Forest were clinical when it mattered. We had some really good spells of possession at times, but it was just that penalty decision, which some people aren't sure about. And of course, before that, the set piece, the defending from the corner that wasn't particularly good as well. But, it didn't feel like Forest were way better than us, but I think the disappointment came from the fact that they were 2 goals ahead after not being that much better than us. Yeah,
exactly. I don't think anyone was coming out in half time and being like, we're awful, what we're doing. It was just frustration. It was like, we should be coming in level here. There's not been a lot in the game. Maybe a goal down at most, but you're thinking, it's just frustrating. You're thinking, we're playing a team that I thought they'd be a bit better. We're not playing that bad, you think, and we're still 2-0 down, and you start thinking, it's going to be one of them. It almost felt, obviously, typical football fans, we thought, it's going to be one of them scenes, isn't it? At half time, and we never saw what happened. I heard Guy O'Neill say after the game that I wonder if the fans were still believing at half time. I don't think we were, if we're honest.
We were, and it's funny because I think I often read Vitals now just to see what the message boards say, and obviously up until when Phil Bill scored that screamer, which we'll come on to, there was so much negativity on the board. And then at full time, you've got people then coming on the board saying, you guys need to take a look at yourselves for your opinions before half time. Well, that's what they felt at the time. That's perfectly okay to say because it was a frustrating watch at times. We had a lot of the ball.
Yeah.
We had some very good spells of possession, but we didn't really do anything with it. It didn't really culminate in many shots. I think Tavernier went close at one point, but really we weren't that productive with it, were we?
No, that was the frustration, as you say. We were in the game, there was not much in the game, but it felt like the same old in the sense that, but we're not creating anything. We said that in the Wolves game, didn't we? Like, we earned that point, but ultimately, we didn't test the goalkeeper. And it felt like it was going that way again. But, yeah, I mean, credit to the players, because none of the fans at half-time were thinking we were going to turn it around. I think I put in the group chat, I think Jeff Hayward said, what's going on here? And I said crap, but maybe with slightly worse language. And then my next message was at the end of the game where I just put Europa League. So that's football fans in a nutshell there.
So look, they scored, and of course it happened on 33 minutes. They had a corner. From where I wasn't sure whether it's Steve Cook that got the header on it, because it looked like it but he threw himself at it, but just in front of him was Kouyaté, and defensively not particularly great, was it? And then obviously we can then go on to talk about Brennan Johnson, but that corner, I'm sure that Gary O'Neill and his team are going to be looking at that and wanting to inspect our defending a little bit more closely. Yeah,
I agree. It's any coach would be disappointed if you could see from a set piece, especially when you're winning the game, it's 0-0 and it's it's something that you've got to deal with. And yeah, I'm not sure about this man marking half of them zonal marking. I never like that. I'm never a massive fan of that. I think you just mark your player and then it's your responsibility and see what happens. But like I said, it was a good header from Kouyaté. It was a good header. But yeah, it was really frustrating because it felt like there was nothing in the bloody game and they've scored from a set piece. But yeah, luckily it ended up not mattering too much. But it probably made the last 10 minutes of the half, they were in the ascendancy then, and we were trying to get to half time, just make it 1-0, let's not make it any worse. And they probably felt like they could just kill us off a little bit, which obviously they felt they did.
The atmosphere at the City Ground, we'll come on to it on the away day experience show, and obviously it started off very loud with Mullock and Tyre, but weren't overly loud during it. But obviously when the City Ground does make a noise, it can be quite vocal. And on the vlog, I think I sort of made a point of going like that, like, my goodness, I can hear them now. And I think they probably thrived on that a little bit. It probably gave the players a little bit more impetus and momentum. And they did have more of the ball. They were playing territorially in our half most of the time. We weren't really getting into their final third whatsoever. But then, one of the times where they had a good spell of possession was just before half-time, where a shot came in after it was partially cleared, and Lloyd Kelly put himself in front of it. At the time, I thought he's so close to Lloyd Kelly, it's going so harsh. If it is handball, which the referee Michael Oliver said it was, I thought surely it's going to get overruled. But looked back and listened to a few media pundits, which they've got a point about. Maybe it was handball. I mean, put the shoe on the other foot. If that happened for us and a penalty wasn't given, we'd probably be irate about it, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I'm calling for it, obviously, if it's the other way around. And I'm probably thinking, I'll tell you what, as it is now, we could get this. But if it was overturned and it wasn't a penalty, I'd be like, yeah, to be fair, it's pretty close. It's a really difficult one, but I think the problem, it goes back to the old problem with VAR, mate, is it clear and obvious or not? I mean, what are we doing? I mean, this weekend for VAR was absolutely horrific.
Well, I was about to say, is it a clear and obvious refereeing error? Is that what they're talking about?
I guess so, because he gave it.
Yeah, because it wasn't a clear and obvious refereeing error. He went for it and he looked, and there wasn't really any conjecture. It did hit his hand, so he stuck with his decision, and he's been lauded on Match of the Day and other places for actually sticking to his decision, where most people will change it based
typically
on typically. Well, it's always Bournemouth that set the trends. But you mentioned VAR, so this clear and obvious thing, Brighton's third goal on Saturday. I mean, what a strike it was. I don't even know what it was offside for. Was it an offside when the free kick was taken?
Yeah.
That was partially cleared, but that's not a clear and obvious error as far as I'm concerned. Yet they're now finding ways to ban wonder goals. That was probably goal of the season otherwise.
Yeah, and that's just going to be forgotten about now, that goal. That goal will be archived away somewhere because it was never a goal. But I mean,
the best goal that never was.
Yeah, it just feels like, from a fan's perspective, it just feels like they're trying everything in their power. So they're trying to see why a goal can't be given. We don't want that in sport, and that's just ridiculous. But yeah, it's difficult. And I think if he gave the decision, he gave a penalty. So was it a clear and obvious error and mistake from the referee? No. So I get why they've give it. The frustrating thing is, if he hadn't give it, it wouldn't have been given, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have gave it.
No.
So it's just all over the place. And there's so many decisions over the weekend, weren't there? I mean, West Ham had a goal disallowed, which was outrageous. I think Newcastle had one that was ridiculous. I think Arsenal were hard done by as well. It was a bad weekend for VAR. But
and also Huddersfield Town in the Championship had an issue whereby the goal line technology wasn't working, and their goal against Blackpool, which would have made it a draw, did not count. We haven't ever had that issue before, have we?
No, not at all. No.
But it's the flow of the game that's the really... You know what? When it happened to Brighton on Sunday, I tweeted this at the time, not knowing I wasn't watching the game, but as it happened, Brighton went 4-2 up anyway. But when a referee's looking at a screen for like 4 minutes or whatever, that kills momentum.
Of course.
And, the team that's in the ascendancy no longer is, and the crowd, they died down a little bit as well. But fortunately for Forest, they got the decision, and therefore everyone was raucous as Brennan Johnson stepped up and put the penalty away. He cupped his ears in front of the Bournemouth fans, and they went in happy at 2-0. And then at half-time, mate, people can see this from the vlog, yourself, Matt Davis, we were all very despondent, not knowing where the next goal or shot was going to come from. Everyone telling we need to get Billing off the pitch.
Yeah.
Little do we know.
I know. None of us was saying let's. What we need to do is take Zamora off and bring Fredericks on and go to about 5. I mean, no one was saying that. So credit. That's why they get paid to do what they're doing. And O'Neill made a good decision. But O'Neill, credit to him as well. After the game, said you can change systems and tactics all you want, but it's got to come from the players. If the players don't believe and the players aren't fighting, then it won't matter what system you play. And I agree with that. We were on it second half, and whatever he said to them, and the players have obviously come in and thought, harsh decision. And a set piece. Apart from that, we're winning this game, so we get an early goal. It's back on, and they obviously went out with that mentality. And I think scoring relatively early in the second half was just absolutely massive, because that's all it does. As you say, there was no part of me that felt we were going to get anything out of the game at half time. Billing scores a goal quite quickly in, and suddenly the momentum shifts so much. You think, I fancy us now. That's how quickly it changes in football. So credit to the players and everyone for coming out like we did, and probably caught them off guard a little bit. I don't think they were expecting us to come out like we did either.
No, and Fredericks, we'll talk about him, I'm absolutely certain. But, when Lewis Cook threaded, I wouldn't say even threaded through, it's just a sideways pass to Phil Billing, there was a pocket of space that opened up. That was a feature of that second half, actually. The players were starting to find a lot of pockets of space between the lines. And no one was screaming shoot. No one was. But he just hit it. And when you see him hit balls like that, you just think, why don't you do it more often?
I think he said that, didn't he?
That was unbelievable. And you noticed something, and I think Zoe Rundle might have picked up about it being very similar to a previous goal he scored, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I saw it on Twitter, I think. It was obviously he scored there last season for us, but not the same sort of goal. But he scored there for Huddersfield, virtually the same blade of grass. It's unbelievable. Really weird how things like this happen in football, and he's got a really good record at the City Ground. It is bizarre, but yeah, I think the only things I did here were people saying don't shoot, because you're thinking, we're in a good place here, we can make this happen, don't just hit it.
The power behind that shot, though.
It's one of them that as soon as it left his foot, goal. Yeah. You know when you just know when you're behind it.
Could or should Henderson have done better?
Not in my opinion. I think that'd be very harsh.
Or was it just so fast?
I think it was a brilliant goal. Yeah, I don't think many keepers are saving that, if any. It was just one of them goals, and it was just what we needed, mate. And yeah, Billing said afterwards, he said, I do need to shoot more. He said, sometimes I'm looking for that pass or whatever. I probably need to back myself to shoot more. And I agree, Bill, because if you hit him like that, he scored a few edge of the box, but not like that, has he? I can't remember, not for us anyway. No. I can't really.
Low shots outside the box like Cardiff away, but other than that,
but he's been, even though I don't think he scored one for us, he's always on set pieces and around the box if Stanislas is not there, which he rarely is. So he must be able to do that. He must have that in his locker, and maybe that's a little bit of confidence that he needs, that he can take him on. But yeah, what a way to start the half, mate.
That's it, and that gave the Bournemouth fans a lot to cheer about. And it was only 12 minutes later where we managed to square it up. And set piece, not dissimilar to that goal at Birmingham that when Stanislas put the corner over to Zeno Ibsen Rossi that put Jayden Anthony, and it was Jayden Anthony who scored the third for us. But before that, wow! So the corner came over, ball to the far stick.
Yep.
Was it
Kelly?
Yeah, it was Lloyd Kelly that headed it back over, and then. At that point, Dom Solanke, his movement and his technique,
yeah, fantastic,
unbelievable.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I thought, how is he going to manoeuvre his body here? And yeah, obviously, and he's just got to try and connect with it well and hit the target. And McKenna's probably done the right thing. He didn't have a good day, did he, McKenna, for the last two goals, because he's gone to try and flick header.
But what
could he do there?
What you can do, duck out of the way
Yeah,
of it
exactly.
in the hope that Henderson saves it.
Yeah, if he ducks it, it goes in, everyone's saying, why don't you try that? It's
exactly.
one of them things. But yeah, the way Dom collected with it was superb. And as you say, that's clearly a routine. Tavernier's drifted it, and Kelly's quite clearly knows what he's doing. He's just come out to the back stick. Yeah, worked it really well, mate. And then you're looking at the time on the clock thinking, bloody hell, we can win this now. We're well in the ascendancy, and I don't think they know what hit them. And but it was no more than we deserved.
Well, throughout that half, we were creating chances. I mean, there was that moment where Christie was put in, and it was a tight angle. Probably should have. I don't know what he could have. Maybe
hit the target there.
Yeah, just a low shot, maybe across the keeper could have been possible. I don't know, but as it was, he hit it high and wide to the near post, and then Tavernier had a chance as well, didn't he? Where he dragged it wide as well, and we were just on the ascendancy. We were just looking hungrier.
Yeah,
and then. I mean, what a time to score. I mean, Jay Nancy comes on, 85 minutes.
Unbelievable.
First touch. And look,
The substitutions that O'Neill's made in this game, by the way. Credit to him.
we were put under pressure, like, defensively. We were passing it about. I think Lewis Cook laid it back, and then it was laid to Adam Smith. And then it was a bit of a, let's just clear it. Put the left back under pressure there. And, wow, I mean, Dom Solanke capitalised on it. And... One thing I've got to say, right, and I said this to you in the pub after we played six-a-side on Sunday, that finish, right, it looks really easy. It's not. And Gary O'Neill basically said this in his post-match interview. He even said, I felt for Jayden as soon as the ball came across. Because Dom Solanke, he won it back. He played the ball at the perfect weight, the perfect pace. And there was no excuse for Jayden. It was in his stride. It didn't have to... change the way he ran up to it. And he also had time to think about what he was going to do. Now, when the ball comes to you perfectly like that, it's so easy to sky it. Yeah. There's no angle for him whatsoever. Most players would probably go the way it's coming, so try and put it to the keeper's left-hand side. But as it is, he doesn't side-foot it under the keeper like some would do. He actually takes it with his instep, and he arches his body to put it to the right of the keeper in the bottom left-hand corner. Yeah. And the composure for him for his first touch was unbelievable, and the scenes in the away end as well, mate. I mean, just
first Premier League goal as well.
Unbelievable.
I think he's
so
only
proud of him.
And wasn't it the Norwich game in the cup where I thought we played well and we all played well, but he missed a hell of a lot of good chances.
Yeah, good point. He did. Yeah.
And that could be that was going through my head certainly. Yeah. If I look at the replay, I think Solanke plays it in with his first touch and he taps it in. At the time, it felt like it took ages to get across, and I just thought he was going to distract the keeper personally.
Well, there was no angle there.
No, I thought he was just going to smash it.
And when you're that close, the keeper is massive, and the amount of free spaces in the goal isn't that much. And
buzzing for him.
I thought what he was going to do. I don't know if you remember this. I don't even know when it was. It must have been our championship season when we played Rotherham. I think away, we won 6-5 or 6-1 in the cup.
Yeah,
and the ball was, I think it was Stanislas on the right flank.
Jan Kermigan.
Very similar to Jan Kermigan. But what he did was he took a touch, so the momentum of the keeper was going the other way, in the same direction as the ball.
He nearly ran out of play, didn't
he? He nearly did. Yeah. and then he put it in. I thought he might just take a touch. And for a player that's just come on, it would be easy to take a touch and just... trying to settle yourself, but fair play to him for taking it first time.
I think it was Cookie, actually. I think the player that was kind of in between the two, I think it was Cookie. That probably makes his mind up to take it first time, because I think if he takes the touch, that defender can then get a block in. Yeah. So that's probably made his mind up as well. But yeah, absolutely buzzing for him, mate. Because I don't know about you, when I looked at the sub, I thought, I'd have gone Dembele actually for his pace down the flank. So yeah, fair play to O'Neill as well. But Anthony was brilliant after that. So he was brilliant when he came on. Absolutely superb.
That run on the left hand side that he
and running the clock down at the end just by charging back and winning the ball back. And he does give you that side of the game as well, where he works his nuts off. But yeah, I was absolutely buzzing for him, mate. And my top may have come off. I don't know what was going on. I could not believe that we'd just come back. And it was late in the game, and I just felt we would. But we definitely deserve that. Definitely deserve it.
I was saying to one of my mates that it felt like a bottle of champagne or something being uncorked or something. Like we know we've got talent, but the cork's on there, and it's kind of bubbling around, but it's not ready yet. And it's almost like Scott Parker was just refusing to let players off the shackles a little bit. And wow. We seemingly did that. Look, it's only 45 minutes of football. We're not going to get ahead of ourselves. But it's so nice to see that type of football back. And it's something that we haven't seen for a long time. And look, one of the players that I think was fairly pivotal to that was Ryan Fredericks.
Yeah.
Who I think deserves a look. There are so many people. Look, let's just go through some stats on screen. As you can see, we're going to talk about a couple of players here. Firstly, as you can see from the other 14, this is a great Twitter account that focuses on, you guessed it, not the top 6. The most combined blocks and clearances in this match week. Chris Mepham was up there with 12. I think he had a really, really good game. Dom Solanke, the most pressures applied, 27 in total, which was really good. One that you'll probably be happy about is Jefferson Lerma winning the most heading duels, joint with a few other players with 5 as well.
Give him a little bit of, not stick, but a little bit of... He's so good in the air. Why does he never score headers from corners? Like, do you know what I mean? I remember one, was it Chelsea?
You know what? Against Newcastle, he scored a header.
That was his first goal, I think.
And also Everton away.
No, he scores loads. No, but you know set piece sometimes. I think you never really. I feel like he should be getting on the end of so many, and then defended set pieces. Why is he not like on their big man, on their main? Because he is so good in the air.
Yeah.
During a game, he wins so many headers, but set pieces I don't notice it as much. But yeah, some really good stats there. I think Meps. I mean, Liverpool game aside, which we're going to be saying a lot this season. I think, hopefully anyway, because it will be anonymous. Go on, say the word. Anomaly. That's it, I got it.
I wasn't sure which one you were saying.
Yeah. That hopefully that it will be that 9-0. And that aside, where everyone obviously had a bad day, he's been superb, by the way. He's been absolutely superb. He doesn't get the credit he deserves. Meps was an absolute rock. Him and Kelly were sensational at the back. And even like, if you look back to that third goal, where, as you said, Smith kind of just plays out the line, which is one of them, like a clearance / kind of play it in the channel, because you never know, Dom will put pressure on, as we saw, he always does. But even Meps there, he gets put under a bit of pressure where a lot of centre-halves would clear that ball. And he goes, I'll give it to Smithy, let's try and play out, let's see if we can create a better angle. And that's where he makes errors sometimes, because a lot of defenders just ump that. And Meps, occasionally, when he does that, he's going to get caught. But the bravery can work as well. So I think he's been brilliant. I really hope this is a season where he cements himself as a Premier League centre half, because I mean he couldn't get on the bench last season. So unbelievable from him. And all the stats back that up, mate. It doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. So back to our original point with Fredericks then. Yeah, so let's just take a look at the average positions here, and what we'll do is we'll show them on screen, but we'll add in the substitutions as well. So this is Nottingham Forest, as you can tell on screen. They are shooting from top to bottom here, and after the changes were made, that's their average positions. Now, in terms of Bournemouth, you can see that when the substitutions are made, there's a noticeable shift to the right-hand side where players are brought in, and the sort of gradual momentum of the side seems to be on that right flank, and a lot of it did seem to go through him, didn't it? And he was cutting in, sort of like a sort of young Adam Smith, or Adam Smith now. He was really good in that position. Yeah, he was
brilliant, and he shows he's got a lot of pace. We know that's kind of all I know about him really, is he's quick. But I know that during his career he's not just been a fullback, he's been a wing back, he's played wide midfield before, so he's obviously got that attacking impetus about his game. And as you say, it's proven from that tactical tweak is shows there in evidence that we were trying to get it more down that side. Whether that was more that we felt that Fredericks with his, he's going to be fresh, he's coming on, or it was that we thought their left back might struggle with that. And McKenna on that left side as well, him and Loddy, were probably struggling more than that right side, potentially. But yeah, it worked. And I think it shows on them average positions of both half really, that we play in quite a box, we're quite compact. We're not all over the place. We're very compact in our shape, and it's about just in them transitions breaking with pace, and we did that second half superb.
In terms of Forest, mate, I just want to briefly touch on them. I mean, obviously, we had our song that was being sang from the away stand that was...
Can't remember.
Mate, you were ringleading that song. But their defence, I mean, when you look at their defence, I thought that, I mean, that's unchanged.
They've got a few injuries at the back. The players they've signed in.
They brought on Jack Colback.
That was really weird.
Which was weird. And I just thought, maybe he's just trying to slowly integrate these new players, but I just thought some of the decisions that he made weren't particularly good, and he sort of admitted that in his post-match interviews as well.
I think he's got a big problem. He's got a big problem in the sense that there's so many players, and he's going to be chopping and changing too much. It's because it's going to be so tempting for him. He's going to change the system all the time. He's going to change the players all the time, it's going to take them a while to work out what's the best way to go here. I think at the back, obviously, it's the main three that they had last season at the back end, but I think Bolly's only just come in, so that's probably why. As I go back to probably playing him at a good time, I think he'll come in, and I think they've got a few injuries with new siders at the back as well. But yeah, it was more the system for me. They're kind of playing a almost false nine, no real front man up there. I mean, it was screaming out for him to get a number 9 on the pitch, and they'd done it too late, in my opinion. I felt that Gibbs White was still one of their better players, especially in that first half.
Jesse Lingard, I didn't even know he was on the pitch.
I mean, I think I've watched, some highlights, some full games of them this season, and I just think he's been right. I mean, I personally just thought it's a pointless signing that's going to... I don't get the signing. I don't think... You got it for a 1-year deal for a start, which shows that, in my opinion, his mindset of if we go, I've got to only do a 1-year deal because if we go down, I need to go somewhere else, in my opinion. I don't know if he's a winger, a centre midfielder, a player off the strike. I don't know what he is, really. I just don't think it works in the way they play. I think they're better off doing what they did last season, having a focal point in, say, Awaniyi, as I mentioned earlier, having Brennan Johnson in that same role as he did last year, and then having Gibbs White off him. I think they need to play number 9, and the substitution of Colback, for me, was credit to us. Was he's thinking, God, the game's getting... We need to bring on some experience in here to try and stop this, because as I think you mentioned earlier in the show, we were getting in between the lines quite well. Yeah. And I think he's thinking of that, which was a massive compliment to us, because Lewis O'Brien sat on the bench, and I cannot believe that guy didn't come on. But yeah, so it's going to take them a while, and they've got a lot to learn, and Cooper will have a lot to learn with what they've done, because the board have gone crazy and backed him with a lot of talent. But to find the right way of going, it's going to take them a while. But they have got quality, so that might be enough for him.
He took responsibility for it, and he didn't blame individual players. Some Twitter accounts were saying that's because he doesn't actually know their name yet, which is harsh, but you know what, could be true. Look, here's the league table at the moment. That looks all right, Tom, doesn't it? That really does look all right. But the league table that really interests me is the one involving the other 14 sides, which I think is actually pretty good reading. So look, 3 games against teams not in the top 6 and 7 points. 7 points from 9. Which actually looks all right. If that's what we're supposed to do, take points from the teams in and around us, we've started fairly well, mate, I would say.
We've got top of the table clash by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Weekend, mate. No, it is good. I mean, if you, as you say, it's easy to get carried away. I think a lot of people will with that, especially with a 9-0. But if you take it in isolation, we've played City, Arsenal and Liverpool, and you obviously ideally want to surprise one of them. We didn't do that. Then you go Villa, Wolves, Forest. You probably, I mean, I'm not being funny, you're probably taking 5, probably, if you're being honest with it, because that means you're unbeaten.
Yeah.
To get 7, I think was brilliant, and that Wolves game as well had come off the back of losing 9-0 and just losing our manager. So that's when we go, just take a point and let's regroup. So, and the Villa and Forest games, we were comfortably the better team in both games, in my opinion. I know one was a comeback and one was an early lead, but in both games we thoroughly deserved to win. The Wolves game, I think, was a well-earned point, and the other 3, we were battered by better teams. So we can't say that we haven't got I think that's a fair reflection. The point's a fair reflection. So we've got a lot of them coming up now. I think we've got Brighton, Newcastle, which will, you wouldn't call them one of the big boys yet, but they're getting there. Brighton, Newcastle, I think we've got Leicester, Brentford, Fulham. Let's see where we're at, kind of, come after them. But it's been a good start, mate. It's been a good start. And what I was really impressed, I think I said before the game, because most Bournemouth fans, if not all, would have taken a point. Yeah. But we don't want it to be 0-0. Because my worry was that we haven't scored since the end of the day. To get 3, that was massive for me. That was better than a 1-0. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because I quite like a 1-0 because that clean sheet, but we needed to show we can hurt teams the other end. And that second half performance was giving us so much confidence. And our main man, Dom Solanke, getting on the score sheet. Yeah, and it's good to give other teams something a little bit to worry about. Absolutely.
Because tactically they're going to be looking at that game and making changes based on what we did and the fact that we could hurt Forest. So, and like you said, Dom Solanke, as you can see on screen, according to Who Scored, he was their player of the match. He was the highest scoring player, 8.2 out of 10. And look, any excuse to see that goal again. Gary Chapman, in response to our 5-word match reports, he managed to post this video. So go on, shall we?
Needs to go back stick here.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Go on.
Get Kelly to pull off him.
Yeah, great shout.
Kelly's got a bit of room though, Chavs. There he is.
Love that.
It's got to be a bicycle.
And the move. What?
It's only a little bit in front of us there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not
far he's to the side.
Yeah, absolute scenes.
What I like about this, by the way, is we don't really celebrate this goal in front of the fans because they're getting the ball and they're going, they want the third.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Yeah, really, really good. And look, speaking of those 5-word match reports, we're going to go through them now because there were lots of them that were submitted at full time. So thank you for that.
Should have done one at half time and then full time. And then compared everyone's, it would have been classic. I actually saw on the vlog, if you haven't watched the vlog, you come up to me at half time, and I actually go, and then they get 2 goals, and now we're done.
Yeah.
Now we're done.
Why did I say that? So these are some of their 5-word match reports. Then Jew Burke said, "That's why we love them. Owen Cherry together, anything is possible." Chezers. Tony, who needs to spend big? Morgan said, "Make a change and win." Cherry Aid, I must have more faith. Bournemouth Dots, MAGIC. It ain't about new players, says Paul. Gareth Burney, Ethan's glad he made the trip. We've also got Cherry stand tall, Forest full, said Michelle. Gary O'Neill earns his stripes, said James. Brilliant, worth the trip, said Carol. You can see more on screen there as well. Gary posting his video, as you can see. Forest need more signings quickly, says Al Guard. Hope you're doing all right, mate. The key word is together, said Gavin. Also, what else we got? Who needs 21 signings, said Katie. Boscombe back of the net, said Kerry. Believe and you can achieve, said Sammy. And you can see more scrolling down the screen. And as Sammy Nell said, belief, mate. Like mentally, what a turnaround. Half-time last week, 5-0 down. Full-time, 9-0. Half-time this week, 2-0 down. It could have gone the other way. It could have.
You said, I think you said earlier in the show about kind of them, with Scott Park, kind of the shackles being on, or that kind of champagne that we needed to, the metaphor you made. And I think it's just belief. I think that's what it comes back to, because they come out and they were in their shell so much, it felt like. And obviously, we don't need to go back into, certain things that Scott said that would be the reason for this, but the players seem to always come out and just be worried. And I genuinely, they've got no evidence for this. Well, we have if you go in previous, but we don't know. But I genuinely believe we're 2-0 down with Scott Parker in charge. We come out second half and we try and make sure we don't get beat by more. We don't. There's no confidence in the players, and they don't go for it. And I think O'Neill said after the game, there's nothing in this. There's been nothing in this game, lads. And if you get the next goal, it completely changes.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly what happened, mate. Absolutely chuffed for him in that second half. And as I said, as we both said, that the 3 goals as well will. I think a lot of teams, it's Brighton coming up, but a lot of teams would have before this game gone, Bournemouth are 9-0 aside, anomaly. Apart from that, okay, you saw in the Wolves game, and you saw they've been quite tight and they try and be compact, but they don't, apart from the Villa game, which 2 crossing the box, they can't really hurt teams. This changes that, because that second half performance shows, they have got something for us to worry about on the other end. And we'll obviously come on to Brighton when we do the preview, but they've been very good this season. But even in that Leicester game where they battered them, they showed vulnerabilities the other end at times on the counter. So I think that's going to be a real positive, mate. So yeah, absolutely buzzing.
Absolutely buzzing. And fans were buzzing as well. Look, we've got a mixture of views here, but we're going to start off with a view submitted from Morgan Scott.
Saturday, wow, what a game of 2 halves. First half at 2-0, bit concerned if I'm honest. I didn't see a way back into it, but fair play to O'Neill at half time. We brought on Frederick down the right hand flank, and he caused a few problems. That was good. Philip Billen, what a strike. That was excellent from Phil Bill. And then Dom Solanke's overhead kick, it got a deflection, but it doesn't care, back of the net. I was thinking, shall we bring on Dembele just for a bit of pace? But no, what do I know? O'Neill brought on Jadon Anthony, and Solanke slid it through for him to slide the ball home. And I think it was a really good performance. We showed a lot of character, but this is just my opinion. But since Parker's gone, we're more together, we're playing for each other, and we just seem like there's an ethos back in the football club. Up the Cherries.
Yes! Get in! Get absolutely in! Oh, what a comeback, and what a week has been for AFC Bournemouth. And 2 goal down. The first half was very bad, very bad. And then 2 fantastic goals by Philip Billing and Dom Solanke. And then Dom Solanke and Jadon Anthony, it was like they exchanged their roles, and Dom Solanke gives the ball to Jadon Anthony, and 3-2 absolutely sinks in the away end, and very important 3 points this could be our very start of the season. And now next Saturday we face Brighton. Is gonna be a tricky game as well, because they are doing very, very good under Graham Potter, and so make some atmosphere at Dean Court, and hopeful that the managerial situation is gonna be clarified very soon. But on to Saturday, up the Premier Cherries. This is the way.
If you have your opponent where you want them, staring down a gun barrel, and you let them go, then you deserve nothing. Forest got nothing, and they deserve nothing.
Yes.
And I think there are very, very few positives, if any, to come from that. All I would hope is that they are so sufficiently annoyed and deflated and angry about that, certainly that second half performance, that they get on the training ground and they target Leeds.
Yes.
Away at Leeds, the boot will be on the other foot. I think a lot of people, I don't know if it happened within the team, but a lot of the supporters thought, well, it's only Bournemouth, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think maybe, I feared this one. I would have rather have gone to Leeds today, Max, away, which is our next game, than play these here. And I think Bournemouth got it right. Second half, Bournemouth were excellent. Let's give credit to Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I mean, Billy's goal was a little bit of an out of the blue goal, but it just changed the whole dynamic. And Forest, frankly, weren't good enough to address what was going on around them. A big, big lesson. They've had a lot of credit in the first few games, and Steve Cooper's had a lot of credit. Now the real work starts. I'm deeply disappointed, Max.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's Forest fan Dave with Match Day with Max. Check out that channel, by the way. Put the card at the top and below. Honestly, doing really good stuff for Nottingham Forest. Yeah, so do check that out. And nice of them to give us credit, but there is some worry setting in amongst the Forest fans, but there's still time to get it right in there, mate.
Yeah, of course. I'm a bit worried about what's behind his shoulder because he was doing that a lot. I mean, the players must be behind him, but no. I think he was bang on, to be fair, in what he was saying, and they had us and they let us go, and that would be disappointing from a Forest perspective. I think. Yeah, I mean, banter aside, we don't want them to do well because they'll probably be with us, scrapping at the bottom. So we need them to struggle a little bit. But as I mentioned a few times in the show, it's going to take them a little bit of time, and I think the Forest fans know that. 21 signings is unheard of, and they will have to find a way of playing and find a system and find a. I know you can always make changes, but he needs to know what his best 11 is, and I don't think any manager would know yet. No. And I think Cooper's still testing a few bits out, and they've got such different players all over the pitch. And you look at that subs bench, there's a lot of quality on there. And I think, I think they've got enough quality to cause teams problems. It's just going to be about getting it right, mate. And I mean, if I ever want them to pick it up, it'll probably be against Leeds. Yeah. In fairness, but and they've still got. I think that's what it will give them. They've bought a lot of players, but they have still got that. Them players so you got Yates in there, you got Cookie, as obviously we know, and I know McKellar had a bad game, but they've got players that do get it as well, and Brennan Johnson, the young players. They have got stuff. It's not like it's just a complete new team. They've got a few ingredients there that were really good from last season. That will hopefully we know what Cookie's about. It'll be grabbing these new players and say, come on. I do feel for Cookie, by the way, because we've had 2 games since he left against them, and they've both been. Like, one, we've come from 2-0 down, and one's got us promoted. So we haven't even thought about, Cookie's here. Do you know what I mean? And the guy, I hope he gets a testimonial soon because absolute legend.
Speaking of, so you're talking about the Forest players that get it. It seems that now we've got a management team that get it. And let's face it, I know that Gary O'Neill relatively has not been here that long, but Tommy Elphick knows what the club's all about inside out. Sean Cooper as well, Gary Stewart, there are others behind the scenes that do an incredible job as well. Is it too early to sing Gary O'Neill's praises to the extent that we could maybe say, look, he could have this job? Because there are some people who, obviously, in the heat of the moment, in the joys of excitement and all that, are saying it should be his. But let's just take a calm head in a minute and just think about this. I mean,
of course.
Does this maybe take the pressure off the board a little bit? Do they don't have to make a decision straight away? Exactly that, in my opinion. I think. If you had asked me as soon as that full-time whistle went, I'd have given him a 5-year deal. But yeah, let's be perfectly honest here. We can sing his praises for the changes he made and the fact that he's got the boys reacting instantly, by the way. After a 9-0 defeat and losing your manager, we've instantly been... I mean, that's very impressive
from Gary. But he's never managed at this level, obviously, and I think the problem is, I wouldn't surprise me if in the past we would kind of just go, just give him the job. We have been burnt a little bit in the past with Tyndall was brought in, and to an extent Woodgate had come in as a coach and then was given the role to the end of the season. Not that he done horrifically, but we didn't get the job done. But I think what it does do is it buys us time, which is great, because if we had got beaten comfortably to Wolves and beaten comfortably to Forest, they'd panic. Yeah. They'd really panic and think we need to get someone in ASAP. Yeah. Now, what it does, it goes, we're in capable hands. We're in capable hands for an interim. He's doing a really good job. He's got the boys together. We don't need to panic. We can do a few interviews. We can have a little bit of a think, and we can, take our time in making the right decision. We've also got an international break coming up soon, which I think helps with these situations. But right now, whatever happens in the next couple of games before the international break, we know already we're in safe hands, and the players are happy. It wouldn't shock me. I think it doesn't get talked about much, but it wouldn't shock me if kind of people in the club are kind of going, what's the feeling like with the players? Because if the players love the manager, it's very hard to then go, we're going to give it to someone else. Yeah, true. So it'll be interesting, but right now, I would say we're in capable hands. Yeah. Let's just calm down. Let's see how we are in a few weeks' time, and see what managers are about and what's out there, and go from there. But the main thing is we don't have to panic. But
he's in tune with the fans, though, mate. He's in tune with them. Even on the way back, Q photos. There's Livy who was pictured with him at services as well, and also T. Greggs as well. Photo with him and his buddy standing next to Gary. Mate, he gets it. 5-year deal. Give him the job.
If we beat Brighton, at least says up the Cherries after the game, I'm 0-0 in. That's just a fact. That's just a fact.
Look, and it's been a good weekend for many reasons as well, because seeing scorers from different parts of the pitch as well, which is something that we drastically need. Don't want to rely on Dom, even though that is his first goal of the season. I think it's great, and that feel good vibe, mate, it's here. We've got the feel good vibe. It's a good feeling. When was the last time you watched the highlights? Have you watched them today?
No, I watched them last night. I
expect you will a couple more times.
Yeah, I've watched them a lot. I've watched the vlog a few times, just like to see the reactions and stuff. And I think Bournemouth put a few bits out about different players, but you see like some of the different players, like
the
Fredericks was in bits, really.
Yeah,
Neto giving it big ones.
Well, was it Fletch that was running out as well?
Yeah,
from the touchline on the right hand side.
Fletch after the game was great as well, giving it a bit of a pump as he does, and it was really, really good to see that, and just good to see the boys together, mate. We've always said that. We said this when Parker went. We all had to keep saying it's not to do with results. We want that togetherness back, and he doesn't seem like we've got this at the moment. Clearly with what he's saying, and that was the first thing. Get the togetherness back, get the team together again, take the shackles off, as we've said a little bit, and let's just let them play and let them be together, and that's what we've seen in a very short space of time. It's a short window, but that's what we've seen, so that's all we can react to, and let's just keep ticking over from there, mate.
Love it. Well, thank you, Tom. It's been a pleasure to go over that.
Yeah, it really has, mate. Yeah, do it all again, hopefully, on the weekend when we get another one.
Love it. And thank you guys for watching. We truly appreciate it. Keep your eyes locked to this channel, because there's more content on the way this week. Tomorrow, the Premier League show is back as we reveal the month in review. We might even grade each team quickly as well, maybe. Tom will provide also his team of the first month as well, team of August. And also, of course, whilst we got the preview on Friday, sandwiched in between that on Thursday is the Forest away day review as well. So do check that out. And yeah, as I say, we're previewing the Seagulls on Friday. It's a busy week. When's it not a busy week for Back of the Net?
Yeah, very busy, mate. Content's unreal. So if you haven't clicked that subscribe button, do it. You've got to do it, because there's a lot of content, and but it's good for it to be really enjoyable. Yeah. I'm thinking, we get to talk about a win again. Yeah, so let's keep that going, mate.
And look, if you've got this far and you're still watching, can you let us know by hitting the like button? We would truly appreciate that. And also, you may have seen on our socials and also on YouTube and on our community pages that last week we were kind of, it was suggested to us that we put our name forward for the FCAs, the Football Content Awards, and that involves tweeting some stuff or tagging us on Instagram or going to the web form. Thank you so much to every one of you that did that. Nominations will be announced soon. Whether we'll be involved, we don't know. But what it does show is your love for Back in There, which we are truly humbled by. So we'll keep on doing what we're doing because you seem to like it. So yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Until the next video.
Up Cherries.
Up the chest. Come on.
I'm going to take the top off now.